This story takes place 27 years after the First Corporate War. The Nest by Sean Carrière. Chapter 44. Whoever designed the team's radiation suits had thought of everything. The boots had a multi-layer wraparound design that made it easy to open and treat twisted ankles and broken legs. Kyle opened Sam's right boot and saw he'd suffered a compound fracture. The breacher's shin was bent at a 90-degree angle.
Does it look as bad as it feels?
Sam asked between grunts.
How bad does it feel?
Kyle asked.
Like someone hit my leg with a sledgehammer.
Sam said through gritted teeth.
In that case, it looks worse.
Kyle answered, his feeble attempt at humor falling flat. The young bounty hunter then asked Laura to help him, and the two carried Sam over to the roof's cupola. They gently placed the breacher in a seating position with his back up against the closed door. Mouse stood in the corner and watched the three remaining bounty hunters. She briefly considered leaping over to the next roof and making a break for it, but remembered there was nowhere to run. So, the Lil Bomb Maker just sat down on the rooftop's loose gravel.
I'm sorry, Sam.
Kyle began.
I don't think we can reset it. Even if we did, we haven't got anything to use as a splint.
Despite the pain, Sam smiled.
Don't fret over me, boss.
The breacher then opened a pouch along his equipment webbing. A moment later he pulled out a small leather case the size of a harmonica. Sam opened it to reveal a syringe.
Back when we were tracking that card cheat, I got bench pressed to give me a dose of his best painkiller.
Sam said before jamming the needle into the exposed flesh of his right leg, just below the knee. The smile on Sam's face grew even wider as the drug took immediate effect.
Oh wow, that's the good shit.
The breacher said in a near whisper.
How the hell did you convince the big man to give you that?
Laura asked. Sam chuckled and said,
I promised I'd introduce him to my Aunt Bernice. She owns an Italian restaurant up in Gateway City. Her Fiorentina steak is to die for.
Then, Sam's eyes rolled back into his head and his whole body went limp. The insufferable smartass was feeling no pain.
What do we do now?
Laura asked.
We're safe up here for the time being.
Kyle answered. Then, the young bounty hunter remembered their girl prisoner. He spun around to check she was still there. He was surprised to see she hadn't tried to escape. Instead, the little bomb maker sat alone near the corner. She was positioned exactly as Kyle had first seen her hours earlier. Her knees were up against her chest and her arms were wrapped around them in a self-comforting hug. Kyle turned back to Laura and said,
Okay, let's take inventory.
Laura opened the breech of her sawed-off double-barrel shotgun and made sure both barrels were loaded. Kyle tossed away his GAC and was now looking over Slick's sniper rifle. He ejected the magazine and counted how many rounds were left. That's when the young bounty hunter noticed a blinking LED on the digital scope. The recorder was on. Kyle synced the rifle scope with the head-up display of his radiation suit's helmet. He hit the playback button, and the recorded footage was projected inside his visor. The footage was green and grainy, but Kyle could see the pointer rat appear in the covered alleyway across the street. Over the next few minutes, he watched as several other rats gathered along the sidewalk, soon numbering into the hundreds. He then watched Scarface crawl out from under a parked car before attacking the pointer rat and devouring it. As unnerving as this all was, the arrival of the king rat was truly the stuff of nightmares. Kyle couldn't look away as the conflict between the king rat and Scarface played out. After the king rat had killed the pointer rat, it looked directly into the scope of Slick's rifle and curved its mouth into a grin. This made the young bounty hunter's blood run cold. Kyle kept watching as Slick attempted to shoot the king rat and miss. The team's sniper was a crack shot, but the beast had moved out of the path of the bullet at precisely the right moment. Kyle then watched as Slick reacquired his target and took another shot. He still missed.
How did that thing sense the bullets coming?
The young bounty hunter wondered. Laura could tell that Kyle was watching something on the head-up display of his helmet.
What you got there, boss?
The wheel woman asked. Kyle paused the playback before answering.
It's a recording from the digital scope on Slick's rifle.
Laura could hear the shakiness in Kyle's voice, and this sparked her curiosity.
Patch me in.
The wheel woman insisted.
Let me see it.
Kyle didn't want to show Laura what he was looking at, but she had a right to know what happened to Slick. Reluctantly, the young bounty hunter worked the keypad on the left forearm of his suit, and the playback appeared inside of Laura's helmet. Over the next few minutes, the two bounty hunters just sat there as they stared at the footage projected inside their helmets. They saw how Slick had attempted to kill the king rat, how he'd made his way from rooftop to rooftop, and had only managed to wound the beast on his third try before it had scurried off into the gas station at the end of the block. They watched as their friend had succumbed to hunter's fever and desperately tried to reacquire his target. They watched as Slick had finally made his way to the furniture store at the end of the block, desperate to finally deliver the kill shot. Laura kept watching the playback as Kyle checked their prisoner. The girl hadn't moved since he'd last looked at her. He was glad her suit's helmet didn't have the video projection feature. He was pretty sure what he was seeing would haunt him for the rest of his life, however long that was going to be. Then came the part where Slick had been overrun by rats while he lay on the collapsed king-size bed. How the vile creatures used their combined weight to pin him down. Finally, they reached the part where the king rat had reappeared. How it had hopped up onto the bed, stood over its prey before tearing into him. Laura cut the video feed before asking,
How? How are we going to make it out of this situation?
Kyle had never heard his wheel woman sound so fragile. She then added,
I don't want to die here.